Take a close look at your bird feeder right now. Everything seems normal, right? The cardinals are red, the titmice are busy, but it's all a lie. Across North America, 3 billion birds have disappeared. And I'm not talking about rare species in a distant rainforest. I'm talking about the ones that defined your childhood mornings. They're silently disappearing, right in your own backyard. Most people didn't notice the silence growing. But today, we're revealing the 5 common birds that are disappearing before our very eyes. And wait until you see bird number 1, because you probably saw it yesterday, and you have no idea it's facing a 92% collapse. This is Avian Mysteries, and the backyard is about to look very different. Bird 1, the evening grosbeak. If you're lucky enough to see a flock of evening grosbeaks visiting your yard, you'll get the impression that the species is thriving. They arrive with vibrant yellow plumage and massive beaks, capable of cracking the hardest seeds with almost mechanical precision. They are noisy, social, and seem to dominate any feeder they choose. But this force is a statistical illusion. Since 1970, the evening grosbeak has lost a staggering 92% of its population. It's the steepest decline of any forest bird on the continent. What makes this so dangerous is what scientists call the burst effect. Because they travel in large nomadic flocks, anyone who sees them in their backyard believes the sky is full of them. But the reality is that they are abandoning entire states, leaving behind only silence, where once there was the sound of beaks grinding seeds. The science behind this disappearance points to a delicate balance. They depend heavily on moth larvae in northern forests, the kind of pest that modern forest management attempts to eradicate. By clearing forests to make them perfect, we end up removing the main course from these birds' table. But while the grosbeak struggles in the remote forests, our next bird, a symbol of peace that nearly every American recognizes, is facing silent pressure much closer to home, right beneath our feet. Bird 2, the eastern meadowlark. For those who live in the central or eastern United States, the sound of an eastern meadowlark is the embodiment of spring. It's a melodic, clear whistle that seems to float over the open fields. With its bright yellow breast and striking black V on its neck, it's a jewel of our prairies and ranches. But this song is becoming a rarity. Meadowlarks are what experts call field specialist birds. Unlike birds that adapt well to our suburban gardens, they need tall native lawns to survive. And this is where silent modernization becomes fatal. Estimates indicate that we have lost about 3 out of every 4 meadowlarks since the 1970s. The reason? Our obsession with efficiency. Where once there were diverse pastures, now there are monocultures of soy and corn, or perfectly trimmed lawns that offer no shelter or insects. Since insects build their nests directly in the soil, hidden beneath the grass, a single pass of an industrial lawnmower at the wrong time can decimate an entire generation in a matter of seconds. They are running out of places to land, and what remains of their territory is being fragmented at a rate the species simply cannot keep up with. But if you think the disappearance is limited to open fields, the next bird on our list proves that even the densest, shadiest forests are becoming strangely empty. Bird 3, the wood thrush. Many enthusiasts and ornithologists agree. The wood thrush possesses the most beautiful song in North America. It's an ethereal melody, sounding like a flute playing 2 notes simultaneously in the damp shadows of the forest. It's the sound that defines the end of the day in the woods of the eastern United States. But this forest flute is losing its breath. The wood thrush population has plummeted by more than 60% in recent decades. The problem is that they face a 2-pronged war. First, there is the fragmentation of the forests. When we divide a dense forest to build a road or a condominium, we create edges. And these edges attract the brown-headed cowbird, a bird that doesn't build nests, but lays its eggs in the wood thrush's nests. Wood thrush parents end up exhausted, feeding an invading pup that is twice the size of their own, while their own pups starve to death. It's a cruel blow from nature that happens in the silence of the treetops. Furthermore, the wood thrush is a migratory bird. It depends on coffee plantations in Central America to spend the winter. When we replace shade-grown coffee with large, sunny plantations, we destroy the only refuge they have outside their home. The result is a bird that is running out of places to sing and lacks the strength to raise its own young. But while the wood thrush fades into the shadows, the next bird on our list is fighting a losing battle right in the bushes of your backyard because of something we ourselves brought close to home.
Bird 4. The brown thrasher. If you hear a sound that seems like an entire orchestra coming from inside a dense bush, you're probably looking at a brown thrasher. With its rust-colored feathers and intense yellow eyes, it's one of the most talented mimics in the world. While a mockingbird repeats sounds a few times, the thrasher has a repertoire of over 1,000 types of songs, varying its notes in quick and energetic pairs. But this master of composition is being expelled from our suburbs. The brown thrasher doesn't like open spaces or clean lawns. It's a thicket specialist. It needs that mess of branches, dry leaves, and thorny bushes to forage and hide its nest. And that's exactly where the conflict begins. In our quest for the perfect backyard, we removed the native shrubs, cleared away the dead leaves, and surrounded everything with impeccable fences. For a thrasher, a perfectly landscaped garden is a biological desert. Without dense cover, they are exposed to predators, especially domestic cats, which are responsible for massive pressure on the species. They are being pushed to the margins, losing the fight against urbanization that prioritizes aesthetics over wildlife. Each year, more thickets are leveled, and the song of this extraordinary mimic recedes a little further from our windows. But none of these declines is as shocking as that of our last bird, a species that defies gravity and has developed a unique dependence on our homes, only to discover that we are closing our doors to it.
Bird 5. The chimney swift. Imagine a bird that spends virtually its entire life in the air. It eats while flying, drinks water by quickly diving to the surface of lakes, and even sleeps high in the sky. The chimney swift is a marvel of natural engineering, often described as a cigar with wings due to its cylindrical and aerodynamic body. But it has a fascinating, and today fatal, biological limitation. It cannot land. Unlike almost all other birds, the chimney swift doesn't have feet designed for gripping branches or walking on the ground. Its feet can only grip vertical, rough surfaces. They used to use the interiors of giant hollow trees, but when the primeval forests of North America were felled, they adapted brilliantly. They began using our chimneys. For more than a century, the chimneys of American homes were a breeding ground for this species. But the world has changed again. Modern homes now use smooth metal chimneys where birds can't cling, or simply don't have chimneys at all. Worse still, the current trend of putting caps on old chimneys to prevent unwanted visits is literally locking these birds out of your homes. Without hollow trees and access to chimneys, the chimney swift is losing the only places on Earth where it can rest and raise its young. The result is a silent decline of almost 70% in its population. It is a species that survived ice ages, but may not survive our preference for sealed modern roofs.
The disappearance of these birds is not just a loss for science, it's a loss for the spirit of our neighborhoods. When the last grosbeak leaves a forest, or when the song of the wood thrush falls silent in a local grove, something of the essence of American nature is extinguished with them. We often believe that conservation happens in distant places, but the truth is that the fate of these 5 species is being decided right now, within the limits of our fences and on the rooftops. Whether it's planting native shrubs, protecting our chimneys, or simply providing the right food, every small action is a vote for the morning chorus to continue existing for the next generation. The question remains, 20 years from now, what will your breakfast sound like? Will it be the complex song of a brown thrasher, or just the empty sound of the wind? If you love the wildlife that visits your backyard and want to better understand the secrets and challenges these birds face, consider joining our community. By subscribing, you not only support the creation of content like this, but you also stay informed about how we can, together, protect the most fascinating visitors to our windows. Click the subscribe button and turn on notifications. The world of birds is full of stories that most people are unaware of, and I hope you'll join me in the next video to discover the next one.